Chief's not done yet because you'll see the next two involve him as well. These were previously postponed. The Fire and Rescue Grant Committee recommendations for Dooms Fire Company, and then also the request for infrastructure funding, also for Dooms from Dr. Seaton in the Wayne District. Both those were previously discussed at the last meeting and then had been postponed to this meeting due to a question on their MOU. We did get a response back from the chief at Dooms that indicated that they were not inclined to sign the MOU to move forward. So it's before the board for consideration, discussion about how you like to proceed with these two items. Will we put them back on for Wednesday night, or how do you want to proceed with that? And then a further discussion concerning the MOU in itself and how you'd like for us to proceed on that as well.
All right, open for discussion.
Mr. Chair, I stand firm against withholding the funds until the MOU is completely signed. Not to put a particular date on it, so we have to keep revisiting this. I don't believe there's anything wrong with them signing that MOU other than, you know, they're trying to put their foot in the stand, and but I think we should be supportive of the department, but also make sure that they follow directions or the requests from the fire rescue agencies. Now, they will be receiving or not the infrastructure. What was it?
Annual contribution.
Annual contribution. We're not holding that against them, so they will receive that. But the other two, I believe we should still hold off on passing that through to them.
So what's the chief going to do if they don't sign the MOU?
Well, ultimately,
What have they already done? What have you already done as far as people working?
well, I guess ultimately I need direction from this body because right now we're functioning in a station that we don't have an agreement on. Or an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. So, and if you clearly even look at the old one versus the new one, the scheduling is my discretion. And then it says an agreement can't be made. I believe it's listed in the old one, and don't quote me on it, but it more or less says that they would fall to the fire rescue schedule. So our schedule is a 24-hour schedule, 8 a.m. start time to 6 p.m. So basically what happens, and Ms. Price can correct me on this, is if they don't sign the MOU, then that means we're not in agreement, which means we start the 90-day process of our staff being removed. And then we would just have to look at a place down there so we don't leave a hole in that area to place the staff down there to still continue to provide service to the citizens of that area, just as we did when Stewart's Draft Fire and them pulled away their EMS license. We still continue to provide first response in those areas. So ultimately, that's kind of where we are. You know, if there was 5 agencies that had an issue with the 8 a.m. start time. We all met. We came to a consensus. 4 of the 5 agencies signed and agreed to it. So this is just one agency that is holding ground, even though statistically and from call volume that we have looked at in our meeting, they have not missed a call during that 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. start time. So you can always what if everything to death, but they are right on the city limits of Waynesboro. Waynesboro First Aid Crew, which is in the room, is got a quick response to that area if, you know, matters happen. So, you know, to me, I don't want to leave a hole. So I would look at alternatives of where to place my staff for the 8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. time frame, Monday through Friday, to make sure that we provide the services to the area. I think we're at a point that we should not allow one agency to hold up the operations of the entire county's operation. So as Mr. Holloway used to always say, is we cannot allow the tail to continue to wag the dog. So that's kind of my point on that.
Do you have an MOU with them right now?
We have an MOU with them currently, well, that states the 6 a.m. Well, it doesn't state the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., but it does state it's the older one that we had in place with them. So you got that with you? Ms. Brazier, yeah. So we have one, but we're operating outside of it. So the point is we
How are we operating outside of it?
because our start time's different. So
So is
they're
that start
expecting
time,
a 6
is the
a.m.
start time in the MOU or not?
I don't think it was in that one, correct?
The copy that I have is kind of it's not Doom's particularly. The one that I received is for a different company, but it does not have
It'd be about
the hour, it has the number of hours per day, the 12. But
That's 12 hours a day versus 10
they
hours
were
a day.
notified back, I believe by Chief Schott back in November.
Yes.
That was not going to be the MOU that we would
Yes.
continue to live under. And I believe you began at that point proposing that they sign the new indication that they understand.
Yes.
And that has still, despite diligent efforts since that time, still not happened.
So if we pull our paid staff out of there, how much is that going to cost?
It's the same number of staffing, so we would have to utilize.
Yeah, but we have to rent,
apparatus.
we have to rent a place.
That's
So
a possibility.
we have to get new apparatus for them
Not up front, we wouldn't have to. So
eventually?
it's a possibility, but if you go back to your study, we're supposed to be putting this up, we're supposed to be putting a station in Camorra anyway. When you look at the strategic plan. So in the next couple of years, we're supposed to be moving towards that anyway.
So how much will that, so not the Cremora station, but pulling with our equipment and the cost of renting a space, which can't be a small space, it has to be livable, how much is that going to be?
Well, we don't know what a cost of a space would be until we can find a space to do it. Currently, I believe there might be an option that we would be able to utilize for probably little to no cost for a time being, but until I make that phone call to verify that, and I don't want to do that until I had direction from the board. But for the apparatus aspect, we would utilize one of our reserve pieces to cover that void until we had further direction in which direction we'll go regarding the long term of this.
So are we talking about 100,000 per year,
I doubt it's going to be
50,000 per
that
year?
much if we go to rent something currently. I don't think it would be that, no. Now, again, until we know, until we have direction, until I can make those phone calls, I don't want to prematurely make phone calls before a decision was made by this body, because if I got back to you, that'd be pretty bad. So I can't give you a dollar figure currently, but ultimately, they are not in agreement with what Augusta County is saying this is what we're providing. So since they're not in agreement, we should not be providing the service at their station until they say they're going to be a part of that or agree to it, because it's my call. It's my staff. So that's where it's at, so.
And the MOU is to demonstrate that all parties agree. I mean, it's not a contract in the strictest sense that could be taken to court and enforced in that way. But if you have a department who's saying that they're not going to sign to demonstrate their understanding because they prefer the old understanding, even though they have been advised that is no longer the case. Yeah. So I think the decision for the board to make is whether they want to treat this department the same as the other companies that they deal with, and to hold them to the same standards, and that to remind us all too that this is to facilitate operations for the citizens and for these fire companies. It's not meant to be a battle of wills. It is simply to say, here, we've informed you of these things, please sign that you have been informed of these things. And we have a company that's saying, no, we're not going to do that. But please continue to fund us and continue to cooperate with us, and we want additional staffing, we want additional time.
And what we've had in the past, and for years, that we've never had teeth in agreements and things with volunteer agencies. We've always allowed, when somebody doesn't comply with policy and or rules, that, we just allow them, okay, once you get it, we'll let it go. Back to Mr. Greps's point, is everybody eligible for the aid to locality money? Every year we say it's due April 1st. We continue to say that, and then we would have agencies that would not submit, and I believe, Mr. Slavin, you had to make a phone call to one of them. But we continue to do that, and we never do anything about it. So if we allow things to continue to go and people not to follow the rules and policies that are in place, then we condone it. And then it's a free-for-all, so people can do whatever they want. It's no different than going into an MOU with the city of Stanton or Waynesboro. When I provide them with an MOU, we agree upon it, and then if we don't agree upon it, we don't do it. So if we're not agreeing, and we're not agreeing on the start time or the staff, then the staff shouldn't be there. That's my opinion.
So when you, that area, 6 to 8, which is a tough time in the morning because people have their own jobs. They're going to Hershey's there or other facilities, ECC, other things that have early start times. So they may not be able to get off their work to cover 6 to 8. So are we just going to be relying on Waynesboro to cover us and then Fishersville?
The volunteers are currently covering it. So if they're doing it now, what's going to be the change? They've been doing it since January 1st. So they're doing what they're supposed to do as an agency. That is their responsibility. They are their own entity. It's not an Augusta County Fire Rescue Station there. We are supplementing. So we are helping them. But we did a survey, as I explained in the meeting that you attended. We did a survey stating with our agency, with our personnel, as you saw the turnover rates. Okay, our turnover rates are through the roof. We can't keep recruits. And the majority, probably 95+% of my department said they wanted an 8 a.m. start time because it helps them be able to get their kids to school. Because there's a lot of single families out there. You cannot drop your kids off school until 7:30 or later. So if I sit there and say, too bad, we're going to stay at 6 a.m., I couldn't keep people anyway. If I start losing those people, you can see in my academy, I'm unable to get people and keep them. So it's just going to make it even worse for us. So we have to do something to better our employees, to help provide for our employees to make sure we can keep them. We just sat here and talked about how do we keep people. This is one way. We have to try to find a schedule that's out there. I've been to multiple summits and talks across the Commonwealth with other fire chiefs. There's other localities looking at completely different start times, looking at fluctuating their start times, allowing people to come in whenever they want to. You know, I don't think we're there. We need to do that because we need to have a more structure. But ultimately, that's a big concern that's hitting the system, you know, across the country. So, you know, I don't know what else we can do besides, you know, our staff's happy with the 8 a.m. start time. It's everybody across the board's on the same schedule. It works. We have proven that they're not losing calls. They have not turned over calls, not saying that they ever will, but I can have staff there and turn a call over because it could be another call. You know, that you can't sit there and what if everything to death. We got to look at what's best for our personnel as well as the system. And I don't think we're reducing staff. I don't think we're reducing service to that area. They can say what they want. I know there was a big article that got posted out there trying to bash the county. But ultimately, they are their own entity, okay? They need to take a look in the mirror. So.
Chief,
Yes.
in the past, have we ever withheld money from any agency?
Have we withheld money? I believe we might have held it a little bit to get somebody to turn their allotment stuff in, but that was it. We turned it around and gave it to them, so technically, no. You might have postponed giving it to them, but you didn't hold it, so they should have lost a percentage or something. I mean, you got to have teeth somewhere.
Well, and have you been down to any of the monthly meetings with Dooms to talk to them? I'm
only allowed to go to monthly meetings when I'm invited. However, I've been to multiple meetings with Chief Anderson and had multiple conversations with him. So, and I see quite a few of their membership on calls and other functions. So,
and our MOUs that we put together, is there anything in state law that backs that up?
I don't think the state law would have to deal with an MOU because the state law doesn't require, except for the county administrator, to provide fire protection. So,
but yet we're saying this is law and
I didn't say there's a law. I said this is an agreement between Augusta County.
I know you didn't say that it was a law, but it's pretty much a policy, and we have got to hold it right down to the T's being crossed and the I's being dotted. you know, good government tries to work with people.
Well, I think
And
we've worked well with them.
I think we need to, you know, the volunteers, you got a whole workforce that's out here working for nothing for us and the citizens. And I don't think that, and it's not only Dunes, but I think it's all of the areas, and I got Middlebrook, it's in the same boat. And I hear from the citizens and things up there that don't think that this is a good policy. You worked for Brown Root one time, didn't you?
No.
You didn't? You worked at DuPont somewhere over there? Did you ever work anywhere else besides?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I worked for Consolidated Trucking. I worked for Victor Tube Incorporated. I worked for Valley Building Supply. I did construction work, so yeah. I've done quite a bit, yeah.
They have a start time,
Yes, I did.
and you was required to be there at that start time?
Yes, I did, but that was years ago. And a lot of them have different start times now, too.
They
even
may,
industry.
they may
Yeah.
have, but you go down to Hershey's or go over to the hospital. They got a start time there. You talk to some of them nurses and things over there, they gotta be on the floor at 7 o'clock. They gotta be there at 7:15.
Yeah.
Now, these folks and stuff that has startup times and things like that, it's kind of hard for them to be sitting in Dooms answering calls and things when they've got a startup time there. And it used to be that companies and things would give employees time off and things to go out and answer calls. But they require them to be on the job now. And that was why I was asking, what do we have in the other localities and things around? Are the other localities losing people at the rate we are?
I'd say
And
the
kinda-
only,
and-
I'd say the only locality that is comparable to us, which would be Rockingham County, and they're struggling trying to keep their recruit schools full. Harrisonburg City, Waynesburg City, Stanton City, they're all smaller. They're a fire station only. They have 8 o'clock start times, and, you know, they also have higher multipliers. They get paid a lot more. So, yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of things that we
Well,
could throw up here and
there's a lot of
discuss about.
variables and
Yeah,
things
absolutely.
there, but, you know, these folks out here, when these stations, and that's why I was requesting some of these times and things on these stations and things, kind of see, the history of where we are at and things. I don't think we ever forced ourselves to go in any of these stations. I think it was at the request of all of these stations that we put career in there. And over the years and things, it's been the career to supplement the volunteers and go help them. And I think we still need to do that today when these companies, and I've heard different stories from some of the other companies that signed the agreement and things, but, you know, to do the service for our citizens out here, I think we should bend over backwards to try to help these companies out, because in the end, it's the citizens that we are needing to look at. And I know Waynesburg's sitting right next door, and we have mutual aid, and I got some questions about that coming up here. But if they're not able to do that and answer the calls, and Waynesburg's out on a call, then the station next to it, second due, is either going to be New Hope or Lebanon to get in that area. It's further away, just like it is at Riverheads, going to Middlebrook. We have not done our due diligence to provide the service that's there, because the service is being provided today at an efficient way of doing it. When you start pulling back and getting further away, yeah, you're taking time away from that heart attack or that stroke victim there because of time. And I'm still not, you know, I'd like to know how many months have we been so many people down on staffing and things. And if we can't stay fully staffed now, how are we going to put more personnel into place to try to cover the means that is there? You're throwing money at everything and thinking that's going to take care of the problem, but it's not. We've tried that in the past with different companies and things, throwing money and stuff there, and it's not doing it. And these volunteers and things that are out here, they asked for this. And we shouldn't be, and it's kind of like these MOUs and everything. Yes, different companies out here, and it can vary from one side of the county to the other. They have difference of opinions and things when it comes to operation and how things are done. But I think we should work with them. And if it means instead of crossing the T's and dotting the I's, let's tweak it a little bit and try to work with them. Yes, it may not work in this station, may not work the same in this station, but we as a public body, in order to provide the service and stuff for the general population out here, we should be able to have the means and the way of doing that. And right now, if there's a will, there's a way. But it seems like that we're not given the will to try to work with this. It is kind of like my way or the highway. And we shouldn't be that way. That's not what good government is here for. We're here to help people. And to me, it's when you start going down this road, I think anytime something comes up, we're going to hold money back on any company out here that doesn't agree with what's going on. And this money that's in these grants here, it is not anything personally to those companies or to Dooms per volunteer there. It is the equipment that is needed, that they see that is needed for the operation of the citizens out there. And you and the committee voted on this grant and approved it. And it was already approved. They're qualified to get this money. But yet, because they won't sign an agreement, we're going to hold it back. That's not right. And so you're going to make the citizens suffer. Who says that somewhere down the road that some of the extraction equipment and things that's there, somebody's life is at stake in all of the time that we've got it postponed? So I am not in favor of postponing the money, and I think you need to go to the meetings, and I think if you reach out and ask to come to the meeting and talk, I think you can go talk. But I think we kind of need to look at this, and the 24-hour staffing was changed up, then it changed things because we weren't fully staffed. So until we get fully staffed, I don't think nothing is going to operate. I don't even think with the extra people that's coming in at the rate we lose people, that's really going to help. So I'm not in favor of postponing this, and I think we're doing a harm to the citizens in the way that we're approaching this, and I think we're opening up the door that you're pretty much, to me, it's kind of getting into the my way, the highway, the socialistic way of you're going to do it this way or not. It takes it out of the hands of the people, and who's to say that we're supposed to lord it over everybody? You know, I don't see that. That's not good government to me.
Chief,
I think-
you did make some concessions, did you not, in terms of, for example, the holiday?
Yeah, we offered
additional
holiday
staffing?
during the week. Yeah, we did concession, but ultimately the start time has already been approved, or has already been assigned, and that's what we're doing, as I told them in the meeting. So, ultimately when we provide, the government decides policy and they make rules. And so, you can't just have, government's not just gonna allow people to do whatever they want to do. So I think that we have to have the ability, whether it's hold money, but that wasn't a Greg Schott thing. That was this body that voted on that.
I
did not vote
disagree
on
with
that.
you there, Chief.
You
The
disagree with me
government
on
does
what?
not have the sole authority to rule over it. It's by the people and for the people.
I'm not saying it, but y'all make policy. So if somebody violates policy, if somebody doesn't follow a policy through community development, do we not hold them accountable?
And sometimes they tweak it a little bit too.
They might tweak it, but ultimately they don't violate the policy.
They may not violate it totally,
Exactly, but they're
they
held accountable.
tweak it.
We don't hold
Well,
people
who's
accountable.
to say that they're violating the policy?
I see it all the time in these board meetings when we bring up stuff. But however, I do want to address a few things, if that's okay, Mr. Chair. You said that the volunteers are out there operating for free. Just to let you know that the Dunes Volunteer Fire Department will be receiving a check tonight for $101,000. I don't think that's for free.
But that did
ultimately,
not go into their pocket. That
It
goes into the
the
company.
operation, but the organization makes $101,000 a year.
Hey, hold on here. Now we're gonna get into nothing but a full-out verbal brawl here. Mike, in all due respect, we listened a long time. You had a chance to vent. Let him get through his statement, and then I'll give you a chance to come back and respond. Go ahead, Chief.
And then, so with that being said, and then we also, when we talk about Dooms and their location, they have the most resources in any volunteer agency in our system because they sit on the city limits of Waynesboro. And we do have an MOU, so they have more resources than any other volunteer agency that we have. Because they have that city department that runs constantly to assist us right at their back door, along with a volunteer rescue squad that can be in the town of Dooms very quickly and provides an excellent service there, okay? When we talk about nights and weekends, their turnover rate is a lot higher on nights and weekends when they're staffing on their own, when they should have volunteers available than it is between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. If you go back and read your study, the study stated that the call volume height is between 9 and 12 during the day. It is not 6 in the morning until 8 in the morning, okay? So that's what we're going off of. We're trying to be good stewards of the taxpayer's dollar and do what's right. And that's the whole reason for the hub concept, putting the Camorra station in, because it costs the taxpayers a lot more money to continue to do this. However, we need to make sure that we have accountability when people do not comply with rules. It doesn't matter, because when it comes down to it, whether it's on a fire scene or something else, if somebody doesn't comply with the rule, then somebody's going to be held accountable for it. And if they are not held accountable, then it falls on me. Y'all voted to make me Title 27. It falls on my shoulders now. Okay, so I'm responsible. I have to have means to be able to hold these agencies accountable when they are unable or do not follow policy. Whether it's administrative policy, like getting your annual contributions in on time, that's a lot of money that we pay volunteer agencies. Whether or not it goes to the individuals or not, it still goes to that agencies. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $2 million in budget. Okay, that's a lot of money, and somebody's accountable for it. And that falls on my shoulders now. So I have to have the ability to hold people accountable. We have never held volunteer agencies accountable, and we have to do that. And I'm not taking away from volunteers, but systematically, our volunteer system is dwindling. And that's a nationwide concept. I don't care what happens. If we could figure out a way to fix it, it'd be great, but it's not fixable. It is not fixable. People are not out there. If you truly went out and got Middlebrook, you brought that up, they have 4 members that can run calls. 4. Dooms, what did he tell us in the meeting? How many people did he say he had available? I know New Hope was, I think they said they had 6. People that can run and provide a service to the citizen. That's an issue. Yes, we were a volunteer system supplemented by career. Back in 2000, we had 18 people. It is 2027. We're getting ready to go in our FY27 budget. We're going to have 150 staff. We are now a career department supplemented by volunteer. because the system is requiring more staff. We are requiring to provide a service that they're unable to provide. Nothing against them, they're doing what they can. But we still have rules that we've got to follow. We have to be able to hold people accountable. And we cannot have 50 different schedules out there just to appease one or two people when we are providing the service that's needed. We have not seen a decline in service. You can, what if somebody's on another call, our staff could be on another call, and that person having a heart attack at the end of the road still gonna have a heart attack, and somebody else gonna have to run it, whether it's New Hope, Fishersville, it doesn't matter. You can what if anything death. I mean, that's where we are. We are in a crisis in fire rescue, a staffing crisis. And we average 22 people a year in turnover since, I think, 2018. I can go back even further, but 22 people a year we turn over. And it's been that way. So to keep them, there were schedule options that were out there. Hire multipliers. Stan just got to hire a multiplier. You know, I know that's a big deal because of the cost, right? Everything costs money. But there are people around us that are doing things to get people and keep them. Okay? A lot of more money, better benefits, a lot more time off. They're doing all that stuff. I can't even allow people to take a vacation day, hardly, because we don't have staffing. If we do things, every little bit that helps me maintain staff or keep somebody, then that's a win, because we're constantly turning people over, and that's a problem. And I can't do it alone. I'm doing what I can, we are, as we go out and try to do what our staff wants. And they're not dictating. This was a survey that the majority, the 159 people, which is almost probably, I'd say close to 50% of our operational volunteers that are actually trained and can run and to provide a service. You know, we have 400 volunteers, they say, in the county, but not all of them are people that can go out and answer calls. A lot of them country support members and stuff like that. So we have to do something, and that's what we did. The system is working. We are not seeing an issue. I did what I said I would do. We would review in 6 months and look at it. There has been zero shown of any decline in service. So at that point, I think we are doing what's best for the citizen and their pocketbook. So.
All right, Mike, I told you I'd give you a minute to respond. You need anything?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and keep arguing up here, but the point is administrative policy versus operational policy is two different horses. And yes, and I don't think any of our agencies out here openly violates any operational policies. Now, did they get their paperwork in on time? Did they do everything administratively? No, they may not. And a lot of that comes back to paperwork and stuff is because we don't have a volunteer coordinator. And I hear that from a lot of them. Insurance claims, stuff that they have to work with. Chief, out of respect, don't sit there and shake your head at me.
First off, I was just looking at you. I wasn't shaking my head.
You shook your head when you looked that way.
All right.
Well,
Brad.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I did not.
We are board of supervisor members, and you gave me a chance, and out of respect for me,
Right.
I shouldn't be sitting there shaking my head.
Right.
I didn't shake my head at him when I disagreed with him.
I understand that, Mike.
Well, out of respect.
We're all at a spot right here where everybody's kind of jacked up a little bit. I think everybody just take a half step back, finish saying what you got to say, and let's leave here on good terms.
But now, I don't think that anybody out here in the volunteer world openly violates anything on a scene when it comes to fire and rescue. Now, you as the chief or whoever's in command on that, if they see that, they should go back to those agencies and say, hey, we got a problem with this. Can you address it? And I think if it's handled in that kind of manner, then I think it will be dealt with. But all of the chiefs and things out here wants to bring their people home at the end of the day when they leave that scene without being hurt. And I don't think that anybody is going to blatantly out to do that. So, like I said, I'm not going to say any more. Let's just, we agree to disagree. Chief, you and I don't agree on everything. But we don't have to get pissed off at one another and openly show it up here. So, you know, I'm supportive of
Yes, I do.
a workforce, and I feel like sometimes that we've got a workforce out here that we don't bend over backwards sometimes to try to work with these people. And you know, you don't realize sometimes how much money they do save us. Now, I know it's a $2 million budget there on the volunteer side, but turn right around and look at the career side.
I know how much the career side is, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, when you sit there and say $2 million here, and it kind of puts it out here that we're paying to the public, that we're paying all of this money out to these volunteers, but yet turn right around and tell them what we're looking at on the career side. And we need to tell both sides of it when we're looking at it. And that's all I'm asking out of you, you know, just don't put them down and don't say what it costs us on the career side. Yeah. And we have that whole workforce that's out there that I don't think that we're utilizing and working with into the full capacity that we could be.
Right, there you go. Now, Mr. Krebs, I think at one point you had tried to, do you have anything you want to add? If not, was going to move to put this on for tomorrow night.
Okay, yeah, and I'll support that, putting it on for tomorrow night, but I'd like to say just two things. One, there's an old saying, the customer is always right. But a lot of you guys out on this board are business people, okay? And if you purchase something that costs to sell it, okay, and like, I'll use Mr. Kinchlow since he just stepped away. If he purchased a product and it costs $2,000, and the customer says, I believe that's too high, I'm going to give you $1,200. How long do you think that man will be in business? Dooms is a customer. They requested something from us, and we reached back to them and said, look, we have to do something, we have to do this, all right? Dooms doesn't believe they have to follow that rule. So with that being said, I'm going to tie this up right here. I think we should move forward with finding a location to move our personnel until, you know, either we build Station 27, and maybe that may be the next step. Let's move on to building the Station 27, or we can work something out. And that's all I have to say, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I haven't finished. Thank you.
Okay.
So I get both of your sides. Tim Anderson, your side. There's money issues on both sides there. I think withholding the $65K, you know, 25 from your budget and $40K from the infrastructure that's designated for my territory, the Wayne district there. Withholding it is really a problem of, you know, it's coercion, it's coercive control that affects their morale. I think it affects recruitment, retention. I understand your point of view too, but this is money. I don't need the money from your department, the $25,000. I could, you know, fund it from mine. I have $293,000 in my infrastructure account. This is for public safety in my territory, the Wayne district. The volunteer fire department out there saves a ton of money for the taxpayers there. Their territory also includes I-64. I don't know how often they get out there, but I think this is a safety issue for the territory from the freeway all the way up to Cremora potentially, a lot of area, the neighboring areas. And I don't think we should be using this public safety issue as a coercion. I think, I think you would benefit from attending one of the meetings out there. And I think you can come to an agreement there, but I don't think we should be using public safety as a method of coercion. If you guys don't want to fund the $25,000 from your account, then I'd be glad to fund it $65,000. I just need 3 more votes that would say yes, $65,000 from my account.
Mr. Seaton, I did not request the funds to be held. That did not come from me.
I understand.
Okay, I just wanted to make that
I
clear,
was-
as it
I
sounds
was
like
bli-
you're.
I was blindsided by it
Okay,
too,
so
so.
I'm just saying it was not me.
I'm
so-
not sure it's a good precedent that somebody who has a worthy thing in their district that's for public safety, I don't think that's a good thing to withhold support from money that's designated for my district. If you don't want to use the $25,000, or if they don't want to use the $25,000, want me to fund it from my infrastructure, I'd be glad to do the $65,000 from my infrastructure account there. I think that's for public safety for my territory, and it affects the neighboring localities too that aren't in my territory. So, thanks.
Any others? All right. If not, I was planning on, Ms. Carolyn, you got anything? Okay. If not, we can put this on for tomorrow night, take our votes and see where this goes. Vote it up or vote it down. Is that okay? All right,
Yep.
get nods.
We'll put both the grant and the infrastructure.
Infrastructure
request
on for tomorrow night.
Yep.
I would encourage everyone, look, this is striking a nerve with a lot of us. I'll sit here, y'all think I got my mind made up. I don't, Scott, you and Mike make great points on this. But I also said here, and I look at depleting people in our full-time staff that don't get time off. We're constantly asking them how much overtime. And we come up with scenarios to try to address it. If we're going to come up with a way to address it, we got to support it. And how many agencies did sign?
4 of the 5.
No, across the county.
Oh, well, this only affected 5 agencies, the
5,
daylight
yeah, that's
station,
right.
so yes, sir.
Okay, 4 of the 5. So
Yes.
about,
Yes.
well, that's
4 of the 5 said yes.
It's a struggle how you look at
Yeah.
this, but if everybody wants to take their 24 hours, do some communicating, and get all your ducks in a row, we'll just vote it tomorrow night, one way or the other. Okay? All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Timmy, that